Brenda represents for me, and I'm sure for all of us, a fearless and deeply respectful warrior of conscious thought. Brenda, you've taught me the art of listening before I formulate preconceived notions, to look for fundamental purpose to all of life, and to love those who live in it and who are living it with integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you please to put your hands together for the consciousness behind the Conscious Companies and this Conscious Companies Award. And I think on behalf of us all, Brenda, thank you for making us just stop in our lives, to stop and think about what really, really matters and what really is perfect in our life. Thank you for the gift that you said into my life.
That was quite embarrassing one. Thank you. Good evening and welcome. Welcome to all the familiar and unfamiliar faces. I want to say a very special welcome to Oraton Roy Benai, who's visiting us from Israel. They're exemplars of transformation and consciousness. So here we go again. It's another year, and what a frenzied year it has been. This got me thinking of the words of American poet Max Heerman, the famous guy who wrote Desiderata. What he also wrote in 1927 was these words: exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery, but let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. With all its sham drudgery and broken dreams, it's still a beautiful world. These words could have easily been the motivation of the Conscious Companies Awards. Regardless of the sham and drudgery in this vast, muddy pool of humanity, regardless of the corruption and inept government, paralytic inaction, where rapidly changing conditions see us lurch from one crisis to another, like load shedding, the looters, the grafters, and the inexplicable lack of accountability while fighting our way back from the captured swamps of dishonorable leaders. We soldier on regardless. And even though there's a deeply rooted indifference with leaders both globally and locally, it's all the more critical to still find cause to celebrate decent, conscious, and ethical human beings, and to explore the nature of leaders and why they do what they do. The Conscious Companies Awards is a consequence born out of a dire need to create disruption and set into motion a new stream of consciousness that would create an intense dialogue of a different quality of thinking and being in the world, especially in the corporate space. Leaders who operate with a sense of personal ownership and collective accountability, understanding the heartbeat of the organization, and those who place humanity at the core of everything they do, is why the Conscious Companies Awards exist, providing an opportunity for leadership to deepen the understanding of consciousness, as it is my belief that only a conscious leader shapes and defines a conscious company. The quest to uncover conscious leaders and conscious companies has over the years been quite an adventure, as we discover a new wave of men and women who quietly go about making a difference with integrity, ethics, and courage. They may not be perfect, none of us are, but they have given themselves in ways that require an understanding of who they truly are. So how do we find these conscious leaders, these heroes? Because that is the need of our time. That is the need of our society. Conscious, ethical, responsible leadership. That is the need of business to serve both its stakeholders and humanity. Tonight is the culmination of a 3-month journey to uncover these leaders and their companies. So the top 10 finalists from all the nominations deserve to be here. They have all embraced the arduous and meticulous process of the evaluation, displaying a great deal of courage in doing so. It takes courage expect after the nominations to open yourself up to scrutiny and embark on this rite of passage. Some opt out once they understand the commitment and the transparency that is required. This evaluation process is what makes the awards unique. It means something to become a finalist of the Conscious Companies Awards, and even more so if you're a recipient, because this recognition is not transactional. One of the judges and a champion of conscious leadership, Michael Jordan, said at the judging panel, there are three faces to a human being. One that he shows to the public, the other to his family and his loved ones, and the secret one that is full of secrets. And I think from a lawyer's point of view, he may be right. So this takes us to what we look for in a conscious leader. It is the integration of all of these aspects, and also about being transparent, vulnerable, and courageous enough to show up as a whole human being, unafraid to reveal who you truly are. But there is something else that we look for that is intangible, and that is those who are aware of an alternate reality. By that I mean, regardless of their wealth, positional power, status, and asset base, they are aware of something that is larger than themselves, and they are willing to embrace new realms of understanding that is deeply humane. This is not the language that business buys into. As well-researched views on leadership about skill set and the bottom line. That is important too, but to take leadership into a new age of consciousness, we need leaders who are bound by a state of being, of social ownership, of honor, justice, responsibility, and oneness to seek solutions for a greater good. From a conscious company's point of view, not the size of the organization, nor the turnover, it's all relative, nor the metrics, nor analytics, or ESG modeling, tick box compliance, or any external process can give you a breakthrough of what consciousness and conscious leadership is. Only a conscious leader can bring to life all the elements that I just shared with you. And why is it so critical to grasp and understand consciousness at this time in the history of our planet? Let's look at the evolution of human beings. During the agricultural age, physicality was critical to success. Tilling the soil, harvesting, and basically all-round agricultural activity was hard work that required physical ability. Then we had the industrial age, where mental ability shifted societies from an agrarian economy to a manufacturing one, where products were no longer made by hand but by machines, through invention and creativity. Then through innovation came the age of technology, and with the introduction of the personal computer, digital genius and invention thrived. The subsequent technology provided the ability to transfer information freely and quickly around the planet. And now, with the advent of AI, it has taken us to a whole new world, an exciting tangent, but plagued with uncertainty about the future. As members of a global society in an age of amazing technology, we have never been more aware of our interconnectedness. Yet we are also more aware of the painful partitions of a divided world. But here's the rub. AI can overtake human intelligence. But what we have going for us is our consciousness and energy. The age of consciousness is the future. But because of the lack of understanding, the resistance to change, and the courage it takes for men and women to find the time to look into their own selves and explore an internal state of being, it is blindsided. It is easier for business to embrace ESG as the new trend rather than conscious leadership. But consciousness is not a trend, rather it is a new frontier, and sooner or later we would realize that this is the only way to change how we do business and how we live. So why is it so difficult for leadership to engage with and explore conscious, responsible leadership as a solution and a new way of being? Because consciousness is hard work that requires a leader to attune to a deep awareness of who he is and his internal ethos. And that is often too difficult to comprehend. It requires a deep personal awareness of oneself as a leader, as a human being, that hinges on one's credibility, trust, and vulnerability, and that is difficult. We have, knowingly or unknowingly, chosen to deprive ourselves of the kernels of transformation rooted in each one of us. The leaders we unearth as finalists are willing to grow and engage with processes that are transformative and have power, potential to install true, authentic leadership power, a power that can never be found external to you. Once activated, this can evoke an enormous sense of responsibility and action, and in turn should influence executive wisdom, self-awareness, perception, the power dynamic, ethics and trust to create an inspirational life. And as I said before, that takes courage, as it's an internal process rather than the external distraction and complexity of the corporate drama in a world of jargon, of greenwashing, purpose washing, profit-taking, and in a world of scandal gates where the responsibility we carry is reduced to a tick box and ethics and transparency are rendered subjective. Our finalists are worthy torchbearers of ethical behavior as they get what conscious leadership is, be it cognitive or experiential. What is cognitive consciousness? A cognitive understanding of consciousness is theory and research, while the experiential understanding of it is that they feel it at a cellular level and within their beings, because for them, consciousness is a lived experience. We look forward to showcasing our finalists for their contribution to their people, business and society in this country. In conclusion, I would like to say that Conscious Companies was born to create conscious leadership capacity in a world in dire need of it. It was never meant to be commercially driven, although it has tremendous potential to do so. However, that would have lost the premise of pure intention that it was founded on. Rather, its sustainability is as a result of a unique model for a collective collaboration of consciousness, and that was to create partnerships. Leaders who are invited to walk this journey with us and experience a different way of being in the world. I am deeply grateful for the unwavering support of all my partners, especially over the years, our accredited members and the leaders who have championed the cause for conscious leadership. We can continue to do this because of you. The power of a new way of thinking and being in the world is beginning to work as we have over time built an ecosystem of some incredible leaders and human beings who get that conscious leadership matters. For those few in the room that are willing to prioritize and live with the values of responsibility, integrity, right action, and walk a path of noble ethics, remember that a candle loses nothing by lighting another. Thank you very much.